Okay, so here we have the main website that you're probably quite familiar with. We've got the track listings, recent tracks down the bottom here. The catalog is divided into these sections. If we click on tracks, you can view tracks uh, as discrete entities. You can view the albums, you can view the artists, you can view the tags, click through to the tags and see the tracks for the tags. Um, you can, if you're a logged in user, you can see your favorites. And one thing that is hidden, well, it's a part of the subscription package is this track finder, which is like a front end way of filtering and finding tracks. So we can search for track um, by artist. And so we've got all of John Hopkins' music in here. We could then filter on, let's say, third hour tracks from John Hopkins. And then we'll see all the third hour tracks. We can listen to them, we can favorite them. We could then filter even further by looking at the mood. Um, Well, let's purpose. Let's look at purpose and let's look at resolving. So here are all the tracks in the library that I've considered to be have a resolving feel and quality that are suitable, in my opinion, for the third hour. And so what we can do from this page here is we can create a playlist. You can create a playlist pretty much on any page. Create new playlist. Um, and I'm going to call it test Zoom playlist. And we'll save that. And I might just put all of those tracks in that playlist. So then when we look up here, I can click on show playlist and I've got all of those tracks that are listed right here for me. From this point of view, I can order them, I can listen to them, remove them. More or less have a lot of control over what the ingredients to the playlist are. In in the playlist, I've created this idea of segments, so we can name the segments. So we might say, let's just call this one the third hour, just to kind of keep it in the mode. And then we might go, okay, I'm going to create a segment called second hour. And so, okay, I'm happy with that. Um, and then we can go over here and say, okay, I'm going to put all the John Hopkins second hour tracks. I'm not even sure that there are. Well, there is one. And we'll have a look here, and you can see that I now have the that new track in the second hour, and then I can drag tracks between those between segments as well. So there's a fair amount of flexibility just in creating a playlist on the run here. Let's go to, let's imagine we're not using the track finder. We can come through here. All right, I'm going to put some bird song sounds in there. I'm going to use this didgeridoo track and this ambient track. Okay, great. And now I can just scroll back up and I'll see that the playlist have been the tracks have been added to the playlist to the bottom. And so then I can go forward. I'm just going to move this zoom thing and I can reorder like that. Let's say I wanted to actually work on the playlist in a much more in-depth manner. So I can then click on the Manage Collection button, and this will actually take me to the dedicated playlist editor. This is a part of the dashboard. And as you can see, you've got all the same functionality. You can reorder, you can preview tracks, you can remove tracks. In this view, you can also move tracks between a section. So I've just moved that out of there. I might actually add a whole heap of segments so we can see what it looks like when you're managing a large amount of tracks. Let's just keep it like that. And so I'm going to expand the segment again. And when I click here, it shows that I can move this one to the fifth segment there. And so there's a fair amount of flexibility in terms of creating order for your playlist. This button here allows you to add notes, so you can add a note to the track. I like the quality of this and would use it as the third last track. Let's just say that that's our note. And then we can basically go through and create notes for all of the tracks. And where that really comes into its own is when you download the PDF. And so this is a bit of a random playlist that I've created. And basically, if you download the PDF, it will come over here. It'll give us a PDF with the name of the playlist. And then there's a printout here of the track listing in the order with the elapsed time as well as the track number. And importantly, it has our note in it. So quite a handy thing if you're putting together a set list and you want to share it, or if it's a part of the training, you want to give it to a facilitator for one of your consultations. All right. Okay, so let's move on slightly to this idea of presets, which you can see here. The concept of a preset is really where the automatic generation of the playlist happens. And I didn't say this at the start, but the playlist isn't actually AI influenced. I use AI to kind of to build the code, but the actual track selection algorithm, if you will, is really based on the inputs that I put in regarding the tags. And so one way to see that in action, let's click on this breathwork 1 hour that ends in drift. Let's click on that, and then we'll get um, this down here where I can apply the preset. It gives an option to populate the segments with tracks, and so I think we're going to go do that, and we'll just watch what happens. And it goes away and does it. And so now I've got a 1 hour breathwork set that follows this rhythm. And so let's collapse these. So I've got, what's that, 6 segments. Call to adventure, driving, mournful, suspenseful, resolving, and drift. And they're the qualities that I've assigned to those segments. And the way that I've assigned them is through the tags. And so you can see here for each segment, you've got a tag there for driving. It's first hour driving, high and medium energy. So let's look at the tags. So when you click on the Add Tags button, you get this Edit Segment panel, which gives us the segment name, the duration. So let's change, just for starters, let's change it to 20 minutes. And down here, you've got all of the tags that are in the system. And so you can tell the system that you want call to adventure tracks, but maybe you want to have voice in there. So click on voice, and this will update here and it'll tell us that we've got 24 matching tracks available for that segment. And you go, okay, that's pretty good. So I'm going to keep it as that. And so when I close this, the system's going to ask me if I'd like to refresh the tracks for that segment, or if I prefer, I just keep the current tracks. So let's refresh the tracks. Okay, and so now I've got 20 minutes worth of tracks uh, that are tagged call to adventure and have voice in it. So let's have a listen. The preview's not always going to capture all of the track. It's about 20 to 30 seconds. So uh, I believe that there is voice in there. But basically, now that we've got those 3 tracks, we can come in here, we can reorder it. Let's have a listen. Okay, yeah, I don't actually like that one. So what I'm going to do is press this refresh track icon, and the system's going to go away and get another track for me. Okay, and this one. Okay, and so I can then move down and go, okay, I'm pretty happy with that segment. I'm going to move down here, and I'll listen to the previous. Some of the previews, the preview links are broken, so you'll get this dead air on some of them. That's not really what I want to do. So I'm going to refresh all the tracks for that segment. Okay, great. That's really that's the track I want there. Okay, and the energy of that one's a little bit lower, so I'm going to push that up there. Okay, so we're sort of building the track. And you can sort of understand that we can really quickly sculpt together the shape or the arc of a breathwork set by using these dedicated segments with tags, with the time applied to it. In the system, there are also these things called audio qualities. So for this segment here, we've got suspenseful second hour pieces, and the system is going to go and get tracks that have a very low valence, and this is something from the Spotify API, which basically determines whether a track is happy or sad. And so these tracks are deemed anywhere from neutral down to very sad. It's low energy and medium energy, and so sometimes the energy doesn't quite that that has a problem. This man's sadness a little bit of energy. Tune's up Okay. And so let's say we've created the playlist and we get to a point and go, I'm really not vibing with this one. I'm just going to refresh all the tracks. And so that you can come back up here and click refresh all tracks, and you'll get a totally different playlist. Some of the same tracks may appear because it's a random algorithm. It doesn't really care what happened beforehand. And as you can see, you've got a whole playlist there. Let's say we actually really like this one and we want to we're going to publish it to Spotify. So what we do is we come up and click the connect to Spotify button. That actually connected me to Spotify. And so now I can click publish to Spotify and it will go away and do that. There we go. And then if I come across to my Spotify account, we've got test Zoom playlist and the whole playlist is in there. What so that means that we can basically distribute the playlist in and listen to it and then work with it further if we wanted to. One new feature that's come in recently, thanks to Hayden's suggestion actually, is to be able to, once you've done this, bring tracks back from Spotify into your set on Music for Breathwork. So let's add that one, and let's find one that's not actually in there. That one's not in the playlist, I don't think. Okay, and so then I can come across here and go, let's check changes to online playlist. And that will open this panel. And we can see that this is the actual current state of the Spotify playlist. And you can see down here, these two tracks that I added are not in the playlist, so I can just go ahead and add them. And that PC is actually in the system, but it's getting added because of a quirk of Spotify, and it is actually importing the track into the library, but it's placing it in a in review state. So it doesn't actually get added to the library until one of the curators comes along and has a listen to it. And so then we see that those two tracks are added to the first segment, and then we can move them to the various spots. So let's add that to suspenseful. And what is this? Let's add that to mournful. Okay. And so you can see you've got this possibility of syncing back and forth between Spotify and the M4B platform. Go ahead, and I'm going to create a new playlist. It's going to give me the preset modal option, and I'm going to skip and add tracks manually. So I've got a completely blank playlist. I'm going to say made from scratch. Uh, and basically, so it's an empty canvas. And let's say we don't want to use the tag system and we want to generate and curate all by ourselves. We can click on the button that says select tracks. And that will open this up and it will give me a list of all of my favorite tracks in first order. And then as I scroll down, it will just keep getting tracks from the library. That are just, I think it's in most recently added order. And so over here we've got a tag selector. So we can say, actually, I don't want to filter all 1,300 tracks. I want to start with, let's choose uplifting. And did that update? Oh, yeah, it did. Okay, and so I might go, okay, I want to put that track in. And I'm going to put that track. There is a preview button here, but it's gone missing for some reason. Now, let's say I wanted to combine tags here. So I could say I want uplifting, but I want uh, medium, high, and very high energy. And so the way I've done that, I've pressed Command so I can do the multi-select. On a PC, it would be Control. And so now we have a list of tracks that are uplifting and have medium, high, and very high energy. And there's actually quite a few tracks like that in the system. So let's add that one, and this one. It's annoying that the preview is not there because otherwise we could actually hear it, but that will be there in a matter of moments after I get off the call. And so now we have those tracks that we've added to the library, and we can move them around. You can see the image will update once you do that. And we might call this section uplifting, this segment. And so let's add another segment and we'll call it sad. And so then we would go here, click select tracks. This is this is something that I built into the system to try and distill the qualities of holotropic breathwork music, really with this idea of how activating and what sort of intensity is the music and how effective and how affecting is the music. So if it's going to be sad, then which is kind of an interesting thing in a way because effective music doesn't actually mean happy or sad. It just means that it has a lot of emotion. But for this one, we're going to do uh, low activation intensity. So the music is not going to have, much energy in it. And it's going to have a lot of emotion. But at this stage, we don't know if it's going to be happy or sad emotion. We could use valence over here to do that. And hopefully I think that updated. But let's say that we actually just go to the sad tag and we can search for the tag over here and click on that. Okay, so here are all the tracks that were given the sad tag, and I'm going to add a few of those. Okay. All right, and so now we have our second track. I'm going to refresh so we can hear them. Some of these are going to be sadder than others. I think we're starting to get the drift. And again, I can go through and put notes in there. And so we've basically looked at three different ways to create playlists. The first way is directly in the catalog on the front end. The second way is through using the preset system and tagging. And the third way is selecting tracks manually. And so um, let me show you how you might actually, if you wanted to create a preset, let's get rid of this set. And we'll use this preset journey cruise, which is like a 20-minute cruise in trance and then drift. I'm going to deselect populate segments and apply that. And so now I've just got the segments. Okay. And so I can go, all right, I'm going to get rid of all of these audio features like this. And I'm going to add let's say I want a cruising track that has electronic drums. And I'm not going to refresh the tracks just yet because I want to make sure that I've got everything else right. I'm going to use entrancing, and I'm going to do low activation and very low activation. So there's 12 tracks in there. And so all of these are just 10-minute long, and I'm going to leave drift as it is. So before I do, I can test that out. Okay, so I can click refresh all tracks, and it will go and get me all of those tracks. Track has got a cruising quality with electronic drums. Let's see this one. Same sort of thing in trance, which has low activation. And this one. Some of the tracks probably might not exemplify the tag, but the tagging is going through a constant kind of refresh all the time. So if I was happy with that set, I could then save it as a preset, and I could go Anthony Cruise in trance and drift, and I can save that. And now when I click select preset, I will have a user preset down here. And so in my psychotherapy work, I often put together 20-minute breathwork sessions for people just to do in the room when I'm doing therapy with them. And so I might spin off, 5 or 6 of these just as a way to get sort of interesting music in in my Spotify account, and then I can just select one of those 20 or 30-minute sessions for the client. Okay, so this is my user account, and it will look more like what other people have. And at the moment, I've created 2 playlists. I haven't favorited any tracks. I've used 28 tracks in my playlists. And if I wanted to, here's a quick link to the library. So down here is the like a starting point for favorites, just in case you needed help with that. So I might go, yeah, I like the sound of that. I'm going to add that to my favorites. It's going to refresh. Definitely like that one. They're all first hour tracks. I might grab that one that should probably be a third hour piece, but so I've got that second hour, and let's use that one for the third hour. So I'm starting to build my favorites for for my reference. And over here, you can look at all of your favorite tracks. So first hour, second hour, third hour. You can then search in there, and you'll find the track. Down below it, you've got the tracks that you've suggested for the library. Um, and this happens, as you saw before, when we synced the playlist with Spotify, it brought in tracks. So this is actually tracks that have been brought in through playlist creation. And as you can see here, they're still in review. And so at some point, one of the curators will go in, write a description, tag it up. Sometimes we'll reject a track if it doesn't seem like it's necessarily fits what we want to achieve. Um, Over here you have your playlists, so you can create a new playlist. You can manage your playlists. There's only one for this user, and manage all sorts of things. So this one is already synced to Spotify. Over here, I can view the public link to the collection. Um, and so it's got the Spotify embed, and it's got the description, also the tags that are used in the playlist, as well as the segments through here. And interestingly, the notes that you add will also show up underneath the tracks now. So it's almost like a gift to the world if you create a playlist for your for breathwork and then publish it like this, because then they can really kind of see what you're thinking. Um, and oh yeah, let's look at the analyze playlist button. Okay, so I didn't do that one before. So this is a really pretty chart. Actually, let's do a better one. Let's go back to collections. Actually, no, let's go to the dashboard. Where are we? We're going to create a new playlist, and we're going to use the Breathwork 3 hour. And let's move this Zoom thing, apply that. And there we go. We've got a 3 hour breathwork. 3 hours. I'm going to make it public. And this is a test set for the Zoom session. I can also determine when I want to publish it. By default, it's set a week in advance, I think, for some reason. But this is all saving as we go. Okay, so I can then come over here and I can view the playlist. So let's open that up in another tab. Oh, okay, so you can see here, I haven't actually published it to Spotify yet. So let's go back over here and publish to Spotify. There we go. And then if I refresh the page over here, there we go. We've got the full set list with my description and a selection of the tags. And we have all the segments down the left. And these, of course, are clickable, so you can click through to see the artist or the track. So let's analyze this playlist. And so what the analysis does, it provides all of those audio features and data points that we saw in the system, and it gives us this. I think it's a really pretty graph of a chart of the quality of the character of the playlist. It looks a bit intense and a bit confusing, so let's remove a few of the things. So I'm getting rid of valence, energy, danceability. Um, let's get rid of intensity, and we'll just show the effective intensity. And so here you can see for the first hour, there is, as you'd expect, very little effective intensity. It's that driving, activating rhythm of the first hour. Then when we move into the second hour, and because I haven't listened to this set, I'm not. I don't know what tracks are in there, so this works better if you've spent time tweaking the playlist. But you can see the effective intensity rises up. There's a little bit of dip there in the breakthrough, which is not so good. So we'd probably want to go back and sort that out. And it's a bit hard to see, but you can see the names for the segments here. So breathwork, suspenseful, breathwork resolving, third hour transition. So there must be a really low valence track in there. And then drifting, and drift music tends to have a very positive effect. So let's see what the activation is like. And great, so that's much more what we'd probably want. Maybe the breakthrough should be a bit higher, but in general, that gives us an idea of what a set might look like. Um, and over here, you can click on segments or you can view the actual tracks. So let's disable this. So that previous chart was showing the audio features for the whole segment. So some of the segments might be 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes long. And so this is actually giving us specific tracks. And so now we can come over here and see which track was giving us the really low effective intensity. And it's, I mean, I'll show you what that track is. It's probably familiar to some of you. Where are we? Here we go. Refresh the page again. Oh, and it's one that doesn't have the thing. So let's click on that and go there so we can actually listen to the Spotify first. So, I mean, that's kind of an interesting track to have a low effective intensity, and it makes me want to go back and check the algorithm to see what's doing that because I mean, it feels like a very positive, supportive track. So, that's a weird one. All the other tracks in here, the Sam Skyty, Now We Are Free, that kind of classic Lisa Gerrard, all of these classic breakthrough pieces. Activation intensity for each track so we can see, that track's a bit of an outlier. There's a bit of fuzzy logic involved here, so we can't really design a set list based around um, making sure that the chart follows a particular way. But what this does for me in particular is it just provides me with an idea of how the set is tracking. It would give me a pause to kind of go and look at, oh, what's that low intensity one? Oh, it's the David Darling track. And then I go, no, I'm pretty happy with that. So it's not about trying to let the chart rule how you create your music, but it's more of a sense checking of it. Here's the energy for each of those tracks and the valence quality. So it's yeah. All right. Now, where did I get to? So we're back here in collections. That's right, over here. So over here, let's say like I'm really happy with that track, but actually I don't want to make it public anymore. I'm going to hide it. And so when I go and visit the playlist, I can see it. But if I copy that and open up an incognito window, I will see this collection is private. So it can be found by other people, but there's no distinguishing features for it. So if you created an incredible set list that you didn't feel like sharing, then you could easily just ensure that it is not public. What else is in here? Download PDF, edit, duplicate. Yeah, so I can basically go, I really like that one. I just want to tweak it, but I don't want to lose that one. So I'm going to duplicate it. And this one might take a little while, or did it not click? Oh, there we go. It duplicated it. So I've got Breathwork 3 hours copy, which is a verbatim copy of that one. And so I can come in here and start moving things around. I can even say, okay, I'm going to have the segment there. I'm going to put return there. I can do whatever I want really, and it's all saving as I go. So you can generate and create as many playlists as you like, and create variations on the playlist. There is also this idea of locking it, and I've introduced this because I I created a playlist. I was really happy with it. And then in my testing, I came along and pressed refresh all and I lost the lost the whole playlist. So when you lock something, it means that nothing is savable. So you can come in and look at it. You can come in and publish it and do all the things that we've discussed over here, but you can't make any appreciable changes, which is going to be a lifesaver, I think. I think that was it for that. And of course, if you really hate a set list, you can just delete it and it's gone. Okay, so that's playlists. The next is the ability to suggest a track. And I'm really like, I'd love it if people suggested tracks. So let's find a track here in Spotify. Let's go to Beth's theme. I know this track is actually in the library, so you can go not to the find the track, share, copy link to song, and then I will just paste it in here, and it will go and get the song from Spotify, and you go, great, suggest the track. And it will go off, it will put it in the system, um, or check the system, and I'm assuming that something's going to happen after this button's pressed. Normally, oh, there we go. Oh, it actually got suggested. So sometimes tracks are already in the catalog, but the Spotify changes something on their end, and so we may end up with a duplicate when there's a process for dealing with duplicates. So you could suggest as many tracks as you like, and we will then go into the review queue and we will write a description and put a tag in and approve it. Now let's imagine that you wanted to actually import a whole playlist. Let's find that test Zoom playlist, and then we'll go uh, copy link to playlist over here. We type in, we just paste that in, it finds it straight away. And then here there's this option to import it into the public catalog or to not. Um, and this is because you may not feel comfortable or may not want to actually import or have your tracks that you've found publicly displayable. So you could disable that and the track's going to be in the system, but it's not going to be publicly viewable and it's going to tell us that we don't need to review it. Sometimes the track is already in there, so it'll still be public, but it just gives you that option if you want to um, contribute the songs in the playlist to the website. So let's import the playlist, and it will go off. It might take a little while. There we go. It's starting to pull it in, and it's telling us that some of them are already in there. Most of them should be in there. It's interesting that that one didn't come up. We've got 5 out of 17. So it's imported those tracks, and now we can go down and edit that collection, edit the playlist. And because Spotify doesn't have the concept of segments, it all gets lumped into one segment. But you can see here that's effectively the playlist that we auto-generated. I think I didn't pay attention to what songs were in there, but I'm pretty sure that's right. And so then you get to work with your playlist. You can do all the things that we've done before, add segments, add tags, change tracks, do all of that sort of stuff. You can also sync it to Spotify. So I've just changed the order. So clapping music is going to be out the front. So publish those changes. All right. Import playlist, and the rest of the system is really around account settings and subscriptions.